Thank you to everybody who joined in to listen live with me to the Fisker earnings call for Q3 2023. There are some important things we need to talk about if you're following Fisker or thinking about investing in it. Let's get right into the details. Fisker has had a bit of a run-up over the past 2 days as we approached today's earnings call, which happened after the bell, closing today at $4.11. Although once the results were released and the phone call started, the stock started going down, ending up closing the after-hours session down just over 14% at $3.51. Just a reminder, I don't own any Fisker. I'm not long, I'm not short, I have no options in it. I'm covering some of these tier 2 EV companies. What I call tier 2 would be in production, but not yet profitable, to help answer questions that you guys have, to help provide some due diligence and a look at the financial statements. And maybe one day I'll decide to invest in one of these companies. But that is part of doing the DD, right? To get familiar with the company and to understand at a deep level the financial statements of the company, not just get caught up on the hype and how the cars look. We're going to talk about what they said in the call, but the first thing that I want to go over with you is that there is no 10Q filed yet. Instead, we got this Form 12B25, which explains that due to the fact that the chief accounting officer left the company effective October 27th, and that there is a new chief accounting officer effective November 6th, 2023, the company was not able to complete all of the financial disclosures and the financial statements. There is a second sentence in here that says, in the course of completing the preparation of the report, the company determined that it has material weaknesses in the company's internal control over financial reporting, and these material weaknesses will be discussed in the report. I always like to read through the full 10Q before I do one of these review videos with you guys, but I don't know how long it's going to be for them to actually file the 10Q. And so if something changes once it's officially filed, I'll do a follow-up. Otherwise, we're going to roll with the information that they provided on the phone call today. We got the Q3 numbers for production and deliveries. It's highlighted towards the bottom here in the bright yellow. Total vehicles produced for Q3 was 4,725. Deliveries came in at 1,097. Now, deliveries, 1,097. They followed up by saying in the month of October, the first month of Q4, they've already delivered over 1,200 vehicles in 1 month, surpassing the entire deliveries that happened in Q3. And deliveries has a lot to do with everything we need to talk about regarding today's phone call, the Q3 results. This company is struggling with logistics, be it shipping vehicles from Europe over to America or finding trucks to deliver them once they arrive in the port in America to the end customer. Probably the most critical thing that they talked about today in the phone call was the struggle with logistics and deliveries. And they said that they are very aware of the issue and they are actively working to fix it. That is going to be something we're going to need to keep an eye on with Fisker to make sure that they actually do make improvements in getting these vehicles that are produced in the hands of customers. They said that the problem with production is not that they don't have capacity. It's not that they don't have parts. They just don't want to have a pileup of cars that they can't deliver. So they must fix the delivery and logistics problems. One other thing while we're talking unit production and deliveries, if you look at the very bottom of this spreadsheet in the box that I have highlighted underneath the table, back in May of 2023, their production target was 30 to 32,000 units. Then that number got reduced to 20 to 23,000 units. And today we got an update that they are updating their guidance for the total production for 2023 to between 13,000 and 17,000 units. So if you're wondering why the price of the stock is coming down over the course of this year, when companies have guidance that they give about how much they're going to produce, people get in their head expectations about what revenue is going to be and profits or losses, and that derives a certain price of the stock. Every time you adjust those numbers down, the numbers on the financial statements adjust down, and you can expect that the price of the stock is going to adjust down as well. So that is another small disappointment here today that we heard the guidance on 2023 adjusted to 13,000 to 17,000 units, mainly to do, again, with that problem of logistics and their problems that they're struggling with getting vehicles to the end customer. Factory is fine. It's the delivery between coming off the back of the factory line to the customer's driveway that they are working actively to fix. I'll throw my green, yellow, red dashboard for Fisker up here. Nothing material changed on this as far as the color of the boxes, red versus green. So we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. If you want to know more about my risk assessment, the financial ratios that I use in analyzing these companies, specific to Fisker, go back and watch the video I did on Fisker a few weeks ago. In summary, let's just say that when you see a lot of yellow and red on this dashboard, you can expect a lot of volatility in the price, and that this is still a very risky investment for retail investors. Since we don't have the 10Q, we've just got the unaudited income statement and balance sheet and other financial details that the company gave us. Let's just talk about a couple of these at a high level. Revenue came in at $71.8 million. Gross margin for the quarter came in at negative $12 million, which is a negative 17% gap. And on a non-GAAP basis, that would be negative 9% when you do an adjustment for some inventory valuation. After we take out SG&A and the research and development, loss from operations came in at negative $99 million. That gives Fisker a net loss for the quarter of just around $91 million, and on a per share basis, negative 27 cents. Up at the top, that revenue, $71.8 million. Wall Street had been expecting revenues of $143 million. We've already talked 2 or 3 times now about the problem they had delivering vehicles, and that will affect that top line revenue. Wall Street had been expecting the net loss to come in at negative 23 cents per share. It ended up at negative 27 cents per share. So a miss on both top line revenue and earnings per share. Looking at the balance sheet, cash and cash equivalents, we're going to be looking at cash equivalents and restricted cash. With the closing of recent convertible bonds, Fisker has $527 million in cash, $97 million in restricted cash. That gives them just around $625 million of cash and cash equivalents on the balance sheet. You'll notice that the inventory is a little bit high also at $550 million. That probably has something to do with the vehicles that they would like to build, they're waiting to build, but they are restricting on purpose the production because they have this logistics and delivery issue that they are trying to actively tackle. On the cash flow statement for Q3, you'll see net cash used in operating activities was $308 million. You'll also notice down here in cash from financing activities, the proceeds from the issuance of the 2025 convertible notes, $450 million. After we spend this money up here at the top and we bring in this money from financing activities, the net increase in cash and cash equivalents was $103 million. Cash and cash equivalents at the end of the period, as we said, $625 million. Regarding guidance for 2024, we did not get any yet from Fisker. They're not the only EV company that hasn't yet given any guidance for 2024, but that is something that I am really wanting to see before I can decide what's going to happen next with Fisker and the price of the stock. We do know that they have the Pear and the Alaska, 2 more models coming in 2025. I want to know, how is 2024 going to look on the financial statements, the revenue side, production, deliveries, before I can really decide what is going to happen with Fisker and if they're going to get any of my money as an investor. For right now, I'm going to sit on the sidelines, continue to watch, and keep up with the news. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Let me know if you are involved in Fisker, if you're holding any Fisker, if you're thinking about buying any Fisker. I am Tony Denaro. I will see ya on the next video.